I was standing half naked in my own backyard, wrapped in a damp towel, while two police officers pointed flashlights at my face. 10 minutes earlier, my wife and I were sipping white wine in the hot tub we'd saved for months to afford. Now, thanks to my neighbor's lies, I was being treated like a violent criminal accused of attacking my wife. That's how far it went. One false 911 call, and suddenly my quiet Friday night became a nightmare. My name's Ryan, and this is the story of how one neighbor's obsession nearly destroyed my life and how I fought back. When my wife Emily and I moved into Ashford Heights, we thought we'd found paradise. Perfect lawns, quiet streets, houses that all looked like they came out of some glossy real estate magazine. We were the youngest couple on the block, surrounded by retirees and rule sticklers who treated the HOA handbook like the Bible. We stretched our budget to buy our house, but it felt worth it. We even splurged on a brand new hot tub, sleek, modern, our own little piece of heaven. The first night we turned it on, it felt like everything had finally come together. Steam rising into the cool night, soft jazz playing so low you could barely hear it past the fence, Emily smiling with that glass of wine in her hand. We toasted to the quiet life, and I believed it, for maybe 30 minutes. Because that's when Karen Miller showed up. She didn't knock. She didn't ring a bell. She just walked straight across my lawn like she owned the place, dressed head to toe in a purple tracksuit, and coughed loud enough to shatter the mood. Karen wasn't just any neighbor. She was the self-appointed sheriff of Ashford Heights, the kind of woman who measured grass with a ruler and left nasty notes in mailboxes about trash bins being 2 inches too far from the curb. "Mr. Holloway," she sneered. "I'll never forget her tone. Your spa is a violation of community peace protocols." I stayed seated in the water, deliberately calm towel draped nearby. "Ma'am, the hot tub is well below the decibel limit. Quiet hours don't even start until 9. We're within our rights." She gripped my fence post so hard her knuckles went white. "I don't care about your technicalities. This is not some low-rent apartment complex. You are destroying property values with your bacchanalian noise." Emily, always the peacemaker, wrapped a towel around herself and tried to soften things. "Karen, please. It's our anniversary. We'll turn the music off." For a split second I thought that might work, but then Karen's face twisted into fury. "Anniversary. I don't care if it's the Queen of England's coronation. You're drinking alcohol in there, I can smell it. You're a nuisance." That was it. I'd had enough. I was tired. I'd worked all week, and this woman had been leaving notes about our lawn since the day we moved in. "It's white wine, Karen, and we're on our property. Go home." It was the wrong thing to say. Her chest heaved. She yanked out her phone, and without another word she dialed 911. Right there in front of us. We heard the beeps. We watched her march back to her porch, pointing and gesturing at our house like we were criminals. 10 minutes later, red and blue lights washed across the street. Not one, but 2 patrol cars pulled up. Officers didn't even bother knocking at the front door. They came straight down the side yard, flashlights blazing. Evening 1 said flat and professional. "We're responding to a 911 call reporting a disturbance, possible domestic assault, maybe involving a weapon." I froze. Emily's jaw dropped. She hadn't just complained about noise. She told them I was violent, that I was hurting my wife. That lie changed everything. I raised my hands. "Officers, I promise we were in the hot tub listening to music. My neighbor made a false report. There's no violence here." Emily's voice cracked, tears spilling down her cheeks. "She's harassing us. She's been doing this for months. Please, you have to believe us." The cops were firm, but polite. "Protocol," they said. "Mandatory ID check." Standing there, dripping wet, humiliated, while flashlights cut across my backyard, I felt stripped of every ounce of dignity. The neighbors were watching from behind curtains, no doubt whispering. The perfect suburban dream. Gone. And then they handed me a citation. $500. Not for noise, not for anything, Karen claimed. No. For a permit violation. The hot tub installer hadn't filed the final inspection paperwork. Suddenly I wasn't just humiliated. I was out hundreds of dollars stuck in red tape and staring down an HOA president with a personal vendetta. That night Emily and I sat in the kitchen, too rattled to sleep. "She accused you of assault." Emily whispered, eyes red from crying. "That's a felony lie. She could have ruined us. I couldn't stop pacing. The officer said it's the 5th time she's misused 911 in 2 months. 5 times. She's not just annoying, she's dangerous. The next morning I called the hot tub company Hydrolux Spas to demand answers. Their rep gave me the runaround. We filed the permit, sir, but final inspection is homeowner's responsibility. Section 3B of your contract. In other words, too bad, so sad. They left us hanging with the bill. I remember slamming the phone down so hard it rattled the counter. We're $500 poorer, Em. And they don't care. This whole thing is designed to screw us. That was the first time I felt defeated. Like the world was stacked against me. My neighbors thought I was a menace. My contractor abandoned me. And Karen. She was thriving on it. For a few dark hours I thought about letting it go, paying the fine, shutting up, never using the hot tub again. Maybe we really didn't belong here. But then Emily said something I'll never forget. She weaponized the police against us. If we don't push back, she'll keep doing it to us, to the next family, to anyone she decides she doesn't like. That was the spark. I couldn't let her win. So we hired Richard Hale, a local litigator who specialized in HOA nightmares. He was blunt. Karen Miller's behavior checks every box for harassment and intentional infliction of emotional distress. But the big one. She filed a false felony report. That's abuse of emergency services. That's a crime. Our plan: get the police incident report, prove her pattern, and hit her with a cease and desist, plus a looming $50,000 lawsuit. We weren't playing neighborhood games anymore. Delivering that letter was the first time I saw Karen's mask crack. She was out front pruning flowers like she owned the world. Emily held the envelope. I stood tall and said, "Karen, this isn't a note. It's from our lawyer. You'll want to read it." Her smirk faded. She dropped her trowel. And for the first time she didn't have a comeback. But if I thought she'd back down, I underestimated her. Within days, neighbors stopped waving. People crossed the street to avoid us. Whispers floated down the block. Karen had flipped the script. She was suddenly the victim, the poor single mother being bullied by the aggressive newcomers with a hot tub and a lawyer. Then came the email, HOA emergency meeting Wednesday night. Agenda, ordinance compliance, and community standards. Translation. Karen was gunning for us officially. That meeting was a circus. Karen stood up first, tears streaming, painting herself as the martyr. I only asked them to respect our community. They threatened me with a $50,000 lawsuit. This house is all I have left. People murmured in sympathy, glaring at me and Emily like we were villains. For a moment I thought we were finished. But I had the police report in my hand. When I walked to the podium, my heart pounded, but my voice was steady. Neighbors, this isn't about noise. This is about truth. Mrs. Miller called 911 and claimed a domestic assault was happening in my backyard. With a weapon. That triggered an armed police response. And here's what the police report says. I read it aloud. Word for word. Disposition unfounded. No evidence of altercation. Noted this is the 5th false 911 call by complainant in 60 days. The room went silent. Sympathy drained from faces. Eyes turned on Karen, horrified. Then I laid down the letter from my lawyer. If this HOA enforces a fine or removes my property based on Mrs. Miller's false reports, you will all be named co-defendants in a $50,000 civil suit. We will not be scapegoated. Panic spread across the board. Within seconds, the president slammed the gavel. Motion tabled, indefinitely. I thought we'd won. But then a new player emerged, Howard Thorne, retired corporate litigator. Sharp suit, colder smile. He wasn't just supporting Karen. He was her neighbor, the one whose house sat directly next to mine. He filed a cross-complaint, dragging us and Hydrolux Spas into court, claiming negligence, demanding the removal of the hot tub entirely. Only later did we realize why my hot tub was closest to his property line. This wasn't about HOA standards, it was personal. He wanted his peace and quiet, and he was willing to use Karen's chaos to get it. That's when things got brutal. Legal filings stacked up. Hydrolux abandoned us again, hiding behind fine print. Stress ate at Emily and me. Some nights I honestly thought maybe we should just give up. Let them win. Tear the damn tub out. What's the point of fighting when your entire community is against you? But then Emily found a post online. An old forum warning about Hydrolux's shady practices. Other homeowners had been fined just like us, then silenced with hush money. It was their business model. That was the key. We brought it to our lawyer. Hydrolux caved. They paid us $10,000 and admitted their installer failed to inform us about the inspection. That single affidavit nuked Thorne's negligence claim. His strongest weapon was gone. And then came the deposition. Karen broke down under questioning, admitting she panicked, admitting she called 911 even though nothing happened. Worse, she admitted Thorne had taken her case for free the very day she lost the HOA vote. Conflict of interest clear as day. The final hearing was explosive. Our lawyer argued Thorne wasn't defending a client, he was defending his own backyard. The judge agreed. He struck Thorne from the case, citing an egregious conflict of interest. Then the gavel fell again. Karen would reimburse us for the $500 fine. Her false 911 calls were referred to the district attorney for criminal review. And most importantly, our hot tub stayed. But the judge wasn't done. To maintain neighborhood peace, he ordered the Holloways will install a 10-foot privacy wall with soundproofing along the boundary to Mr. Thorne's property. At their expense. We walked out of court victorious, but staring down the cost of building a massive ugly wall that blocked our view forever. And as we left, Thorne stood on the courthouse steps, eyes cold. "You won your tub," he said, "but you'll spend every day staring at that wall. Enjoy your prison." So yes, we won. We beat Karen's lies, we exposed Thorne's games, the hot tub stayed, but our victory came wrapped in concrete and silence, a wall that reminded us every day of how fragile peace can be. And that's the lesson I took from all of it. When people abuse power, whether it's a neighbor, an HOA, or even a lawyer, you can fight back and win. But don't expect to walk away untouched. Sometimes, even when you win, the scars remain.